Ever wonder why applying for refugee status feels like trying to get backstage passes to the world's most exclusive and least fun concert? You are not just filling out a form. You are proving your story to strangers who hold your entire future in a manila folder. Here is the first twist: nobody tells you cannot just walk into a United States embassy and ask for refugee status like it is a customer service window. Refugee status from outside the country almost always starts with the United Nations Refugee Agency, the group everyone calls UNHCR, because they are usually the ones who register you first. Think of UNHCR like the world's most overworked hall monitor, except instead of writing you up, they are trying to figure out which country might take you in. They interview you, check your story against the definition of a refugee, which basically means you fled your home country because of persecution based on things like race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or being part of a certain social group. Now here comes the part that surprises people. Having a scary situation back home is not automatically enough. You have to prove a well-founded fear, which is a fancy legal phrase for "I have real evidence this is dangerous for me specifically." It is less about how bad things are in general and more about how bad things are for you. Once UNHCR agrees you qualify, they do not just hand you a plane ticket to Ohio, they look for what is called a resettlement country. And the United States is only one option among several like Canada, Australia, and a few others. This is where the plot thickens, because being referred to the United States involves extra vetting that can make airport security look like a pat on the back. The United States uses something called the USRAP, the United States Refugee Admissions Program, and it is basically a giant multi-step relay race with background checks, medical exams, interviews, and biometric screening. You might wait 1, 2, or even 3 years, so patience is not just a virtue here, it is basically a requirement listed in invisible ink on the application. Here is a common misunderstanding that trips people up constantly. Refugee status and asylum are cousins, not twins. Asylum is for people already inside the United States or at its border asking to stay, while refugee status is processed from outside the country before you ever set foot on American soil. Resettlement countries do not just pick names out of a hat. They look at specific criteria like vulnerability, meaning are you a survivor of violence, a child alone, an elderly person, or someone with serious medical needs. They also look at family ties, meaning do you already have relatives legally living there? Because reuniting families is often prioritized over starting from a blank slate. Some countries also weigh integration potential, which sounds cold but really just means do you have skills, education, or community connections that could help you rebuild life faster. This is not a job interview for value as a human being, it is more like matching puzzle pieces between what you bring and what a country's existing support systems can realistically handle. Security screening is another huge piece of the puzzle, and this is where many applications quietly stall for months without much explanation. Multiple government agencies cross-check your information, and while it feels frustratingly slow, it exists because resettlement countries want confidence before opening the door. This is exactly where an immigration lawyer earns their paycheck, because one wrong date, one inconsistent detail between interviews, and your whole case can hit turbulence. A good lawyer helps you organize evidence, prepare for interviews, and avoid the classic mistake of accidentally contradicting your own story out of nerves. People often assume lawyers only matter once you are already in the country, but for refugee cases, guidance from outside counsel or partnering organizations can shape whether your file even gets prioritized correctly. Small details like proper documentation of persecution, medical records, or witness statements can make a massive difference in how credible your case appears on paper. Doubt creeps in for a lot of applicants, especially during the long, silent waiting periods where it feels like your file vanished into a bureaucratic black hole. But most delays are procedural, not personal, and staying organized, keeping copies of everything, and checking in through proper channels usually matters more than panicking. The big lesson hiding under all of this is that refugee resettlement is not random luck. It is a structured process built on evidence, vulnerability, security, and fit with a country's resources. Preparation, honesty, and consistency are the real currency here, more valuable than any lucky charm you could carry across a border. So if all of this sounds like a maze you would rather not navigate alone, would you like to learn more about how we help guide people through exactly this process? Check out our links in the description.